Hello everyone and welcome to Green Wings Migration Channel. My name is Eleonora, I'm a registered migration agent here in Perth. And I opened this channel because I wanted to have an opportunity, a window to talk to you about everything concerning migration and obviously migration to Australia. So the topic for today is sponsorship, and in particular today's discussion arises from two very common questions that I get asked, which are: how do I find a sponsor, and what occupation would be easier to use in order to obtain a sponsorship? So first thing first, what is a sponsorship? A sponsorship is effectively a visa, a work permit that you can obtain when you receive a job offer from an Australian employer who offers you a full-time contract in a certain occupation that is deemed to be needed in Australia. So the first point is it's not possible to obtain a sponsorship in any occupation. There needs to be alignment between the department's need or Australia's needs, the employer's needs, and your abilities and skills. So effectively, the original question shouldn't be how do I find a sponsor, but how do I find a job in Australia? And on this point, I'm very sorry, but as a migration agent, I'm probably not the best person to give you advice. And I highly recommend it that if you feel like your resume is not on point or it could be amended and improved, maybe contact a career coach or someone who can give you assistance in that space. We, as a registered migration agent, we come to the game once you have secured a job offer. So at that point, we can actually guide you and the employer about the best sponsorship to choose for your specific circumstances, and obviously how to use that sponsorship pathway to achieve the ultimate goal for most people, which is permanent residency. Which leads me to the second question, that is, what job should I use in order to obtain a sponsor? So obviously, the migration legislation and migration policies are influenced by what happens on a very basic, normal daily level. So how is the economy going? What kind of things does Australia need most? And everything goes also back to the population and changes, fluctuation in the population number. So it goes without saying that as the population is increasing, there will be an overwhelmingly higher need for health carers, for example, social assistance workers, as well as construction workers, because at the end of the day, we have to live somewhere, but entertainment workers as well, for example, chefs, everyone who is involved in the hospitality industry, because we need to do things as human beings that are outside our living in a certain place and doing a certain job to support ourselves. There is a very interesting website, which is a government website. It's called Job Skills Australia, and it gives you data, researches, reports based on actual numbers and stats. So if you go through that website, you may have an understanding of how Australia is doing, what Australia is looking for. I had a look yesterday, and right now the situation is there is a skill shortage across all industries. There is no industry not affected by a skill shortage. So the advice I can give now is every job could be good in order to receive a sponsorship opportunity, because there is so much need of everything essentially. So from doctors, nurses, physios, child carers, teachers, chefs, tradespeople in the construction industry, everything in every industry is needed. Obviously, everything in every industry is needed, but not everything in every industry can give you a sponsor. So we go back to the first question that we answered. My advice on this point is, and will always be, try to be a proactive migrant. So if you come to Australia or if you have an interest in Australia, try to understand beforehand what your options could be and try to do everything in your power to already achieve a certain degree of eligibility for the visa pathways that are applicable to your circumstances. I'm talking about, for example, obtaining your IELTS test beforehand, or PTE test, an English test anyway, that you could use for visa purposes, and also obtain your skills assessment beforehand. And this goes back to a very basic situation that may arise if you apply for a job opening and you are interviewed and you are a potential candidate, good candidate, but you're also competing with other people. Let's say the other people are readily available. You are not, because you A, need a visa, and B, you may need more time to be able to apply for the visa. It goes without saying that the other person has a better chance than you. This is because from a business perspective, going through a migration process, it's a cost. It may not necessarily be a financial burden, but it takes time, and for businesses, time is money, so the equation is very easily understandable. So the easier you make it for a possible potential employer, the better chances you might have to convince them to invest on you and train you with the aim of finally applying for a sponsorship visa. So there is no solution one fits all, of course. There are variations between industries as well. So for example, in the hospitality industries, businesses have been using the migration system since the dinosaurs era, and in other industries, it's a little bit more complicated. It could be more complicated for those industries that rely a lot on government funding, because obviously they might have budgetary restraints that do not allow to offer sponsorship, without much thought. But indeed, if you do your groundwork, if you show that you have done everything in your power to make it easier for the employer, then you might have a better chance than other people. And obviously, the best thing to do is always to contact a registered migration agent as soon as you come to Australia, or even before coming, so that everything is explained, everything is laid out in front of you, there is no space for doubts, and you have a strategy in mind. Then maybe the strategy goes according to plan, maybe it doesn't, but at least you tried, and you tried in the best possible way. Thank you so much for following me today. I hope to see you in the next video.